And John.
And welcome to another episode of the Meatgistics podcast. Today is kind of a sad day because it's just a regular day. We don't have a guest here
No
today.
guest, just you and I.
Maybe that's more exciting. I don't know. We'll see.
Probably not for the listener, but
Yeah, I think we're still entertaining.
I enjoy the ones we do ourselves.
Yeah, me too. But first thing, before we get too deep into anything, always start out with the most important thing of the day, the beer of the day. So, John, what do you have for today?
I have yet again gone to the Dogfish well. I think this is the 5th time out of 11 podcasts that I've had a Dogfish beer at. I think.
Like, is there a deeper meaning or story behind this? Because you just keep bringing Dogfish Head over and over and over and over.
Absolutely love them. I'm building up to the point where I'm eventually going to bring worldwide stouts, but I have to slowly keep increasing the price of them so that when I do that, you don't get a shock. But this is the Sunday Feels. It is a 6.5% sour.
That seems fairly high for a sour.
It is pretty high for a sour, and it is absolutely delicious. This might be one of the best lawn mowing beers I've ever had. It should be incredible on a hot day.
Yeah. Could you do what my brother Dylan was talking about before, taking like a Truly, adding a shot of vodka to it? What if you took that and added a shot of vodka to it?
That might a
Too
little
much?
over the top.
Okay.
Yeah, it depends. I mean, a Tito's?
Yeah,
you
Tito's.
could probably get a Tito's in there. Yeah, for sure.
I've never done that with a sour beer, but because of Dylan's conversation being on my mind, now I think I may have to try that sometime.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good. What do you got?
So for mine, I've got a beer by Stone Brewing. They have a series that they call Enjoy By. They do it for all kinds of different events, holidays, and whatnot. But this one is their July 4th. So it's brewed in a way that it's not meant to like last a long time. So this one is meant to be drinking, whatever, by July 4th. It's a unfiltered IPA. It's a double IPA, 9.4% alcohol. It's really good, but it kind of threw me for a loop. I was expecting something maltier, a little bit deeper in flavor, and it wasn't as heavy of a beer as I thought. It is definitely a lighter beer.
You're a big believer that the double IPAs make it malty and creamy, and that's not always been my experience. So from someone who hates IPAs, like the double IPA doesn't make me think it's going to be any better. I still think it's going to be hoppy and a little flowery.
Yeah. I want to say this one was like 90 IBUs, so nothing insane. Because a lot of times you can get doubles or triples that are well over 100. Yep. But overall, I mean, it's a really good beer, and this is the only time of year you can get it. And actually, I don't think they'll ever brew this one again, because the last time they did one like this, it was not the same. So it's kind of a one-off series. So when I saw it in the store, I'm like, gotta have it, gotta try it.
Yeah, for anyone who doesn't know, Stone is they're a pretty incredible brewery. I think they're out of San Diego. They used to do something, I think it was called their Millennium Series or something like that. They brewed a beer on 1101, 2202, 3303, 4404, and so on. And the end goal was that on December 12th of 2012, all the beers would be at their optimal time to drink.
Yeah.
And I worked at a beverage center, which is a beer store in New York at this point, and we'd buy a case of this stuff every year, and we'd put it in this place underneath the stairs, and we'd be like, all right, well, when they get ready, we're going to sell all of them, make all this money, but we drink the whole case by like, a month and a half later. We're like, well, I can't do that. They were so good though.
I actually said I was going to do something like that on the Dogfish Head 120-minute IPA.
Oh, they're gone?
They're gone. I was like, I'm going to drink one on the podcast or live. Was it podcast or live stream? It was podcast.
It's podcast.
Yeah. And I was like, I'll drink the next one sometime after that, and then save the next two for like a year later and another year later. No, like a month and a half afterwards, I drank all four. Sure. They're gone.
Yeah. Now, while we're speaking of alcohol, let's bring up our new possibly topical section.
I would be excited about this today if it wasn't for one reason.
That it might be you.
That it might be me that has to deal with this.
So the not getting what the other person was guessing got a little bit...
On Mystery Meat.
Got a little bit stale. We've only guessed once right, and that was you.
Okay,
that was
me.
You guessing.
Thank you.
So we've decided to spice it up a little bit. And now, if you provide a mystery meat and the other person correctly gets it, you have to take a shot. But It's not just going to be a shot of whiskey or a shot of tequila. We asked some people, and for the first, we're calling it penalty shot.
Yeah.
For the first penalty shot, we're going with something called Jeppson's Malort liqueur.
This won the vote out of everybody we pulled on Meatgistics saying, yeah, this is the worst one to do. So,
and let me tell you, London, for those of you who don't know, we do now have someone who's in charge of our social media. You'll meet her later, but she nailed it. Says it smells just like nail polish remover.
oh gosh. And we're supposed to ingest that?
Yeah, this is not going to be good.
Oh my goodness. You better not guess mystery meat right today.
Well, let's get to it.
You want to try it? So when I made this, I was very worried John was just going to get this instantly. It took a long time to try to figure out what could I do. And I was like, let's do jerky. Let's give John a fair chance, because I think John probably has the best chance at guessing the right seasoning if it's jerky. That's probably one of his more oftenly made and favorite things in here. So we'll see if he can get this one right. But to give him a little bit of hints anyways, it was something that I thought at first was just going to be blatantly obvious. After I tried it, I was like, it isn't quite what I expected, but John has been making so much like tender jerky. And if you want to learn how to make tender jerky, it's a different process, but still very similar, but you can see that on meatgistics.com. But this was just straight up seasoning with a little bit of water, marinate overnight, and then smoke for about 4.5 hours the next day.
A ton of smoke. I mean, that's the majority of what this tastes like. You have disguised the taste of the seasoning well.
But so the full process on what I did is I wanted to be lazy. I didn't really want to have to buy a bunch of meat, clean a slicer, do everything. So I was walking through the grocery store, and they have what they call like beef steak for sandwiches. It's a very lean cut of meat. They didn't say what it was. I'm guessing it's some sort of round, inside or top round, and it's just trimmed off really nicely, already pre-sliced. So I took that, I measured out the right amount of seasoning for it, the right amount of water for it. The right amount of water is about 8 ounces per 5 pounds of meat. Threw all that into a vacuum bag, vacuumed it, and let it sit in my fridge for a little over 12 hours, maybe 16 hours, and then threw it on the smoker this morning and just set it at 200 degrees, heavy smoke.
Gosh, ridiculous.
And let it go for about 4.5 hours.
Now, it is a jerky seasoning, right?
It is a jerky seasoning.
I have a guess. I don't think you're going to be happy with the way I'm getting to this, because I'm not getting to it from taste. I'm getting to it from seasoning that I'm seeing on the jerky.
Yeah, that's why. So when I was doing this, I told John I needed like a half hour in the kitchen here for him not to come in, because I was worried that if he would see the seasoning, he would know.
There's two it could be. It could be either basically hot buffalo wing or dill pickle, and I don't think. I have a feeling I would still get some of the heat from the hot buffalo wing, and I'm not. But there's so much smoke on this that anything could be hiding in there. I'm going to go with dill pickle, though. Was it hot buffalo wing?
It was neither.
Oh, what was it?
This one is probably going to make you mad.
Oh,
it's pizza jerky.
What?
Do you taste the tomato in there?
Okay. Is it pizza jerky or snack stick?
Uh-huh.
Okay, I think of that as a snack stick.
I did.
It does say jerky or snack stick on the.
Yes, it does. Okay. And I did specifically choose that one because you didn't have it in the jerky category on our website, but it is supposed to be in the jerky category on our website.
Well,
so I was like, oh, John's not going to get this one.
I wonder if that's why you wanted me to pull up the stuff. I do kind of feel like we've missed the boat with penalty shot, though. I do feel like maybe it's just whoever loses.
Either or, whoever loses.
Because otherwise we're going to take a shot every 10 episodes.
I would be okay with doing that going forward. It is your choice if you are subject to that today.
I'll try it. I want to see it.
It's hard to change the rules after the fact, but you have to be okay with it.
Yeah, as long as they're against me, I'm usually comfortable with it. I don't think we have shot glasses in here, do we?
No.
So I can either pull off that or
grab a glass. Okay. Yeah.
Alfredo backwash.
The alcohol would probably kill anything.
All right. So this again is Jeppson's Malort liqueur. It's made in Chicago. And I did read something that said it's like the hipster drink of Chicago. That's not a shot.
And it tastes disgusting.
It's who knows? It does say on here, on the bottle, it says something about Jeppson's Malort has the aroma and full-bodied flavor of an unusual botanical, which means literally nothing. Literally, that's not a description at all. Its bitter taste is savored by two-fisted drinkers.
You know, if it's botanical and it's bitter, I actually might like that because that kind of describes IPAs. Not that I'm going to drink it unless I have to. I'm going to make you do that. But.
No,
Down the hatch, and what do we think?
It burns, like not in a good way.
Is it just alcohol?
Yeah. No, it's not like an alcohol burn. It's actually not. It's not that strong. It is unbelievably bitter.
Can you compare it to anything? No, like that bitter or just that different?
No, that's weird. Extremely bitter.
Well, I'm gonna make sure that I don't have to take that next time.
I can't get that taste out of my mouth.
Eat some more of that jerky that's got the heavy smoke flavor on it.
I will be.
So now taking another bite, can you tell that it's pizza? Look for tomato flavor.
Mm-mm.
Really?
Maybe actually. But that's the way it always is. Once you say this is that, then you can pick it out. But all I got was smoke for sure. I'm getting a little bit of the tomato powder now. I've got some good jerky in there that I made the other day. Bloody Mary with we added not 18%, I think we added 12% brown sugar. Came out really good. We'll talk more about it later, what I did with it that was special. So again, it is still 1-0 with you in the lead.
If we're doing the penalty shots off of whoever loses, do we need to keep a full running tally?
I think so.
Okay. We'll go back and retally
some sort of scoreboard. Yeah.
Okay.
But still, the only point is when you guess correctly. How many shots you take isn't the signifier. It's how many guesses you get correct.
True. Yeah.
So it's still just 1-0.
Okay. So from there, you want to head on to Meat Matters?
Absolutely.
Okay. The first one here, I thought this was kind of interesting. I actually got a little riled up while I was reading it.
Yep.
It's about Iowa trying to restrict access to private property, which, in my opinion, is totally fine. They're talking about having to make more laws to prosecute trespassers.
Yep.
Well, trespassing's already illegal, correct?
Absolutely.
And somehow that's not enough, but it does relate to the meat industry here. But I just got riled up about that fact. I'm like, how? I'm like, I know we don't want to dive into the political things, but I'm like, this isn't even political. It's it's already a law on the book that like, why do you even have to make another law for it? But so do you want to explain what they were doing with the meat processing side to it?
So what first grabbed my attention about this is one, it was that title that Iowa is restricting access to your own private property, restricting others' access to your private property on a meat processing news website. I'm like, there's got to be more to that.
Yeah.
So reading into it, basically what it's for is slaughterhouses, farmers, mostly farmers, trying to keep activists off their private property. Right now, they're having like something, I don't even want to name them. They're having some of these activist groups go onto their land, break into their farms, free their animals, liberate them, I think they call them, and not get arrested.
Yeah, basically like it's like the animals are prisoners.
Sure. It's theft, and the fact that a head of cattle is going to fetch that farmer well over $1,000. It should be grand theft.
Should be.
I don't understand it. I thought Iowa would have been more on the farmer side than this. I mean, that is a major part of that economy.
Yeah, because their court system already struck down the law at least once, and the other version is still in litigation. And then this is a new one, I guess. They just keep trying to pass it because, I mean, in my mind, it's common sense that it should be illegal since trespassing already is. But this is, I think, their third attempt on trying to get something through to stop this because they just won't stop people for trespassing.
Nope. And what are you thinking there? You're going to go onto a farm, get some cattle, and just let them loose in a field? What are they going to do? Hey, there's literally no thought behind it. Same thing with a pig. Even worse with a pig. You take a pig and you let it go. In 5 months, that thing's a feral hog and is a danger to everything around it.
Yeah. One of the things I saw in the story was it was tying back to some of the COVID stuff, which I hate bringing up over and over. But it's
now, though.
Yeah, everything is. So we try to minimize. But one of the reasons they're doing some of it and trying to save some of the hogs and whatnot there is because of the euthanizing of hogs that some ranchers are having to do, and that's one of the things they've been videotaping and saying that it's inhumane, which I don't know how they're doing it. There are humane ways to do it, but that could be true or may not be true. I would assume it's not. But on the other hand, I look at it and I'm like, either way, that's still kind of depressing that they're having to do that, because I'd like to say we could find someone to process it, but just to let an animal go to waste it's
a shame.
Yeah, it's a sad
absolutely.
thing.
Especially when you have Americans starving out of work. But I mean, there's not an easy fix for that. It's not as simple as, well, just process it and give it to the homeless. It doesn't work that way.
There's just no capacity to process it right now. So,
and just, I don't understand. Do they not have stand your ground laws? If somebody comes onto my property, I live in the suburbs. If somebody comes onto my property and tries to remove something from that, they're getting shot. I mean,
well, hopefully you're just going to stop them and discourage them. And if it comes to some sort of force, you use that. But you have to be able to,
at that point,
do something to protect what is yours.
Yep. If you've come onto my property and I've pulled my gun on you, it's because I've determined you're a threat to the safety of my wife or myself.
Yeah.
So if somebody was stealing a potted plant from outside, I was all right, have fun with that. Go ahead. I just don't understand this. Life is getting confusing.
It is. I talked to somebody about some of the stuff that's been going on in 2020 yesterday, and we were just both like, hey, this is one for the record books. With everything going on, everything just doesn't stop. And every day it's something new, and you're like, can we just get a break from all of this?
It feels like 2020 is the season of a TV show where the last couple of years they've been doing all like character development, and this is all just like huge plot points.
Yeah.
Now, somewhat in the same vein, since we were talking about pigs, I saw a really funny meme in Italy. Some wild boars got into where some mobsters had hidden cocaine in the forest.
Oh, no.
So it was, hey, who had cocaine pigs in June as the next big thing? That made me laugh really hard. And then for the second and last thing of COVID in Meat Matters, I found this one really fascinating. This was from, we get a magazine called Meeting Place. It's great industry news. For any of you guys who have your own processing place, I would really recommend you check out this magazine. They also have a wonderful website that's updated daily, actually hourly, with all the latest news in meat processing. Definitely worth the subscription. But what they were talking about was the designing of plants in the aftermath of COVID. So not something that I think anyone who's not in the industry would even consider, but it is going to change, and it's going to change probably pretty drastically. So for anyone who's never been in a processing plant before, personal space is not part of the design.
Yeah, you're you're usually right next to the guy next to you. And then there's a gal behind you running another line, and there's somebody across the table from you. There's no social distancing.
No, and that is a feature, not a bug. That is to allow me to continue doing what I do and pass it right along to you.
Yeah, that way there's no unnecessary movement of product, which honestly is a key point in any business that deals with a physical, tangible product. The more times you have to handle and touch it and move it, the more that you lose productivity. So meat plants, they're designed to just go from one thing to the next, to the next, to the next, right there.
And more than 40 plants were temporarily shut down in beef and pork just in April. I mean, that was 19%. So those were enormous plants being shut down.
Yeah.
You lose that type of ability to process, and you're going to start rethinking the way you're doing things. And then with the main cause of COVID, now they're saying it's basically coughing and sneezing with somebody within 5 feet. It seems like it can't live on surfaces or can't transmit through surfaces. So distance is really the thing that's going to save you. And like we talked about, as plants are set up right now, that's not an option. So they're looking at redesigning literally everything from lockers. I mean, like the lockers that the employees go into and, put their stuff in. They're talking about single points of entry for each individual. So it won't be like everybody walks through one door anymore. It'll be all open, more spread out to prevent them from contaminating each other. Obviously, where they're actually working and breaking down the carcass or breaking down their cut, whatever they're assigned to do, will be a more open. I don't know how you do that and not increase your prices, though.
Yeah, I don't think it'll happen without price increases. The only way that I think you don't see price increases there, because if you need that extra space, you need more square footage.
Yeah.
That's more building, a lot more costs. The only way to reduce some of that might be automation, which unfortunately
that also costs money.
Yeah, is going to hurt, because that's a lot of capital expense and then the cutting of jobs. So I don't think there's a great outlook there either way. Either way is going to be a little bit painful, whichever direction is headed.
Sure. Yep. Absolutely. And one of the things that I learned while researching this that was awesome in my mind was, when you were in high school, did you read a book called The Jungle by Upston St. Clark?
Nope.
Upston? Okay. So it was a book about the meat processing industry in Chicago back in.
I know exactly what you're talking about, but I didn't have to read that in high school. But I'm familiar with it.
Turns out it was all like propaganda.
Yeah.
But anyways, horrifying book. But the disassembly line that they use in those meat processing places is what gave Henry Ford the idea for his processing lines.
His assembly
lines.
Yeah.
Not process.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's really cool.
But, and then another cool thing. So some of the big plant design guys are talking about less huge national plants and more regional medium-sized plants. But that does cost a lot more again.
Good luck on those 4 major players that control 80% of the market agreeing to open up that many new plants, because they will not like that.
No, that won't happen. But an interesting...
That would require a paradigm shift of people buying from the small to mid-sized guy, and those people growing and opening up more shops than the big boys, I think, adapting. I don't think they can adapt fast enough.
Or they get broken up and then the paradigm shift is forced, not optional.
True.
So, and then another interesting thing was that mobile slaughter is definitely a part to this fix. So,
yeah, that would be very cool. We have a lot of customers like in Alaska that will do mobile slaughter.
Yep.
But you see that out there, but it's typically specialized or remote areas. So seeing that elsewise would be kind of cool.
Yeah, it's an economical way to do it. So for anyone who doesn't know, it's a trailer that's can be broken up into different modules. So one is killing, one is cutting or harvesting, whatever you want to say. One is
No K words here.
no K words. So killing, harvesting, packaging, and then finishing. And they're 4 completely different modules. Everything's clean in between. So you go in with a freshly killed or maybe even live in this instance, and you come out with T-bone steaks.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't beat that by much.
So does Mobile Slaughter just come out with T-bone steaks? Like they turn the whole cow into T-bone steaks? That's amazing.
Isn't it?
We need Mobile Slaughter everywhere.
All right. So African swine fever is spreading.
Better known as ASF.
ASF. This is not the first time we've brought this up, but
unfortunately,
yeah. But it continues to be a problem, and it seems like it is getting worse.
So where are we getting worse this time?
It's all over. Luckily, it's not in the U.S., but it is now spread to 10 European Union countries. So the USDA is trying to keep us safe from this by restricting imports on any country that has had an outbreak in the last, I think they said it was something like 6 months. But these outbreaks are popping up constantly. I think they said China had 40 in the last couple of months. I mean, they're all over the place. So it's a hemorrhagic fever, which is spread to domestic, wild. It really doesn't seem to matter what type of hog it is. And it's spread by either ticks or by feeding pigs infected pork meat.
Why would you even do that?
Did we literally learn nothing with mad cow disease?
Probably not, I guess.
That's what that was.
At least maybe not in the U.S. I mean, obviously, if we don't have cases in the U.S. so far, we're at least doing something right.
But mad cow disease started in the U.K., right? I'm pretty sure it did. And then spread to us.
I don't think I'm old enough to remember that. Like, I'm being kind of serious.
Wow.
Because it's one of those things when I was a little kid, like, I remember first learning about mad cow. Like, I wasn't like very old.
Wow, I'm old.
Yeah.
That makes me feel my age. Wow. But no, it is a really important thing that the USDA is doing to try to keep this out of the U.S. Because with all the problems we're having already with pig farming, we do not need another thing knocking that down.
Yeah, I look at it all and I just kind of want a break from all the craziness that's been going on in the meat processing world. So hopefully we can nip this one in the bud sooner than later, or on the global scale, nip in the bud, or in the U.S., just prevent it. Just stop it. Let's just not let it come here, because that's going to add one more thing to everybody's worry about our meat supply and everything going on that honestly we don't need right now.
Yeah, and you want more social unrest, you're going to get it when I can't put some sort of red meat on my table a couple of nights a week.
Yeah.
That's when things get weird.
Mm-hmm.
But then they are also working with a lot of the farms on their biosecurity. So that's making sure they're handling any type of infections very seriously in both preventing and, if they do have something, immediately reporting.
So do they have any grounds to get rid of it once it's there? Vaccines?
No, there's
treatments?
There's no treatment. There's no vaccine. It either recovers or dies. And from what I'm understanding,
the mortality rate is probably pretty high.
Yeah. So it's 3 or 4 days. They can be fine from first infection, and then they start getting lethargic, and it said depressed. I don't know how you really tell.
How do you know if I don't want to laugh too much, but how do you know if a pig is depressed?
Who knows? But then it loses its appetite, and then in like the real pink pigs, the pale skin pigs, you'll start seeing blue around its extremities, and that supposedly is like a sure tell sign.
So is it like cardiovascular?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Then yeah,
it's a hemorrhagic fever. Yeah. Okay. So it's like Ebola.
I don't honestly, I don't know what that word means.
It's Ebola.
Oh,
I mean, it's not Ebola, but that's the same thing. Ebola is a hemorrhagic fever. So luckily, it cannot jump from pigs to humans, which is awesome, I guess, and lucky because, I mean, humans and pigs share a good amount of DNA. I mean, they used to put
Everything
pig
shares
hearts,
a good amount of
right,
DNA.
right, bananas, and humans do. Yeah,
Yeah.
But they used to put, what was it, like pig somethings, like they used pig valves in human hearts to.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, we're lucky that can't jump, and if it ever does morph and jump, we're in trouble.
Just be a negative Nancy over here. Like, end it on a negative note, John. Can we end on a positive note? The positive note is we don't have it here in the U.S. yet.
Right.
And the USDA and FDA are doing everything they can to prevent it from coming in here. So that's the positive note.
And
end on a positive note.
Pig is still delicious. So
everybody loves bacon.
Yep. All right. So let's talk about meat hacks. This is...
is it a good meat hack?
It is not.
Oh, okay. Why is that, John?
So this is something that came from a Meatgistics user. They wanted us to see if using fire bricks, an electric smoker, would even out the wave. So let me back up real quick and talk.
I'm questioning whether we should continue to listen to the Meatgistics users, because they seem to just tell you to do things, and I spend money on you figuring out everyone's problems.
That's very true.
I'm honestly though.
That's very true.
That's what we're here for.
Yes. So there are basically a couple different types of home smokers. The two most common for people are propane and electric. So a propane smoker has a propane tank on it. You adjust the flow and the amount that the burner is open and your vents. You get it to a temperature and then it stays there. An electric smoker has a burn box in the bottom that has a heating coil that either just heats the sawdust, whatever, burns that, and that's the heat, or the heating coil is both the burn element and the heat. What that does is, say you set it for 160, it is going to run until the temperature in your smoker is like 180. Then it's going to cut completely off and wait until it drops down to like 150, 155, kick back on. So it looks like this big, long wave.
Sine wave.
Yep. So the thought on these heat bricks was that it would hold the heat. So it either at least make the wave less steep, more like flatten it out, or possibly just remove it mostly altogether.
And it sounds like a fantastic idea.
It does.
When I talked to John about it, I was like, like that should work. Let's try it.
Kind of thought this was our next automotive sponge thing.
But is it?
But it is not. It literally made it worse. I don't know how that's possible.
Yeah, I still don't understand why. But
I mean, there is a very clear distinction from our graph before we put them in and after. They get steeper and they get higher on both the up and down. I don't know what it is. Now, I guess it's vaguely possible or remotely possible that the Pro Smoker, its control board, has something that's like actually running an algorithm saying, this is the outside temperature. This is how long I should have to run to get to this temperature, and it's ignoring that. But that's not much, right?
No, I don't think
It'd
it's
be much
that
simpler
complicated.
just to assume it's got a thermocoupler and they're saying, here's the temperature.
It just has a thermocoupler.
Yeah. So I don't know how it's possible, but I posted it on Meatgistics. I posted the image of the wave, and it's just nuts.
So who do we need here? It's not really physics, not really chemistry. Is it like thermodynamics? Like, we need someone out there that has a bit more knowledge in this area.
We just need someone who's in general smarter than we are.
Hey, come on. We're not that smart. But on the other hand, this honestly requires, I think, some pretty hefty calculations. Yeah.
So you need a math guy. Or
no, because I will say I'm a math guy.
Okay.
Very good at math. However, that goes beyond just math. Like, you have to know something about the chemistry or something behind things, because it's not just math. If you give me an equation,
right?
I
figure it out.
I can do that.
Okay,
but I can't tell you how something's going to operate elsewise.
Yeah, I have no idea who you go to on this.
So if you out there have any idea what we can do, email us at podcast@waltonsinc.com. If you have any other questions about anything, life, meat,
we'll be more help in the meat industry area than life.
We don't guarantee to respond to every question if they're not meat related.
Although, I mean, we both do have very happy families, happy lives. So maybe we could answer some life questions for people.
On one hand,
we'd prefer not to.
If that grew the audience, I wouldn't necessarily be opposed. But on the other hand, that's not where John and I think anyways, are best suited for.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to have any responsibility if I gave you terrible advice and it messed up your life. Like,
let's stick to meat related something.
Probably for the best. So then on somewhat a different track, you made a jerky for our mystery meat.
I did.
I made jerky this week.
It was gross compared to mine.
As a treat. That's an enormous lie.
Did you make
delicious?
You made this as tender jerky though, right?
I like a version of.
Okay.
Not the same amount. So what I did with this is we've recently gotten the Hamilton Beach commercial. We've got a couple of things from them. We started out with their chambered vac sealers. We really liked those.
Yeah, they're awesome.
So then we wanted to bring in their 8-quart stand mixer and their 10 tray commercial dehydrator. And then we found out that they had a AccuVid 1000 Sous-vide immersion circulator, which does a bunch of water. I think it's something like 30 liters. It'll get up to 205 degrees.
How do you like that compared to our other ones?
Yeah.
You like it better?
Yeah.
Like truthfully,
Yep.
You like it better. Okay.
Yep. Has less problems than the VacMaster. And then the Weston's good, but the Weston's not designed to do large volumes.
Yeah, just not that much water. Yeah.
Is actually designed to do large volumes. Now, you're also going to pay for that in the AccuVid. It is significantly more expensive. I mean, it's not like unobtainable, but it is significantly more expensive than the Weston.
If you're doing a small kitchen batch, you're not going to buy it necessarily.
It depends on what you're talking. Are you talking about like 3 steaks? No, you don't necessarily need it for 3 steaks, but you want to do 6 steaks? You want to do 8 steaks? Yeah, the AccuVid's going to be much better.
Okay.
So what we did was we wanted to see what would happen if we tried to sous vide jerky.
Why? Why would you even do that?
I mean, the question really is, why not? Why not try weird stuff? This is my job.
Yeah, I know. But I'm still asking, like, why? Why did you think about it?
So a lot of people, I still feel like, hopefully not many Meatgistics users, because I think we've kind of convinced them that this is not the good way to go about it. But I still feel like a good amount of people go marinate, dehydrator. That's not the best way to go about it. What that's going to do is it's going to start removing the moisture from your product before you've heat treated it. The heat needs moisture to kill the bacteria. So if you get it too dry first, you could cook it to, 700 degrees. That bacteria with no moisture to kill it is going to stay alive.
Actually, at 700, I think it's still dead. Probably.
I want to say it's actually warmer than that.
Seriously?
I really do.
I was going to say like
I think
250.
Okay,
but
sure.
Honestly,
so to be safe,
you may be right though.
To be safe, we'll say you could cook it to 200 degrees, and it's still going to stay alive without any moisture or without like enough moisture. So what we were thinking was a lot of people go who don't have a smoker where they can control any humidity, anything like that. They go oven dehydrator. But that has its own host of problems.
It's annoying.
And getting an accurate reading on temperature on something you've sliced as thin as you're going to slice jerky is difficult.
Yeah. Good luck pushing a probe through a 1/4 to 1/8 inch slice of meat. It doesn't happen.
What are you going to do? You're going to fold it over the probe. So if this is the bottom piece of your jerky, here goes your probe, and you fold it back over. That's going to get you as close as you can reasonably get. Won't be exact, but it's close. But if you do it in a sous vide 170 degrees, you know it's going to get there in almost no time.
Yeah.
So what we did is we vac packed all of it on single levels. We didn't do things all stacked up into just a couple of bags. We did 20 bags, everything on a single level. Put it in there for 50 minutes. By the time I checked in 50 minutes, I mean, it was 160 something. So it was definitely ready to go.
Yeah.
Took it out of there, put it in the Hamilton Beach commercial 10 tray dehydrator, which does a really good job. I think its biggest advantage is the fact that it's NSF rated.
Yeah, that NSF rating gets you some extra things if you're not just doing something at home.
Right.
If you're doing it in a restaurant, a commercial facility, a meat market, anywhere, you need a lot of times that rating. But at home, you're,
Right, you're okay. But if you are trying it in a restaurant, if you're trying and you need that NSF rating, which most of the other ones don't have.
No, none of the rest of them.
None of the rest ones have.
Yeah, they don't have that.
But it seems like a great unit. It's got great airflow. We checked it at 3 hours, and technically our pH and water activity level would have made us shelf stable, but not like just in the range. So we went ahead and ran it for a full 4 hours. At that point, we were well within shelf stability. So we pulled it, and texture was great. And I do have to say, Dylan, who is one of our owners, he is, what is his
brother?
Oh, no, I know he's your brother. Thank you. What's his title?
VP of Sales.
VP of Sales.
Yeah.
And he is also I think of him as our meat scientist.
Yeah, meat scientist, technical specialist.
Yep.
He went to school for food science.
Yep. So when he gives me a compliment, I like it.
Yeah.
And he loved the tenderness, the texture of this jerky.
The flavor was, unfortunately...
Well, you don't like Bloody Mary.
No, I love Bloody Mary. I don't like celery. They added celery into that. Normal Bloody Mary anything does not have celery. You have to add your own celery, and I withhold it. And that just tastes like celery.
So you like the tomato powder.
Love it.
Now, you can ask them, when we were making this, the smell of tomato powder was so strong that it was almost nauseating.
No.
And then once you cooked it and dehydrated it, the number one thing, as soon as we ate it, we're all like, yeah, it's celery powder.
Yeah. If you do that in a snack stick, you get no celery powder, and it just is tomato.
Well, you'll like this, because the next snack stick we're going to make is one of these, and then we're going to do something you did a long time ago. We're going to go make the most outrageous Bloody Mary we can possibly make.
Oh, I am invited to this, I
Absolutely.
assume? Okay.
I mean, you're sponsoring it. So yes,
okay.
You will be invited to it.
I did actually do an episode on just Bloody Marys at one point.
I remember it.
Pretty much just because I just wanted to drink Bloody Marys, but,
Yes.
But
no, in general, for somebody who doesn't have a smoker that they're comfortable with, anyone who is doing jerky from their oven to their dehydrator, I actually do think this is better. I think you're going to get a better texture from your finished product.
That did turn out better than the stuff I made today for you on Mystery Meat.
Oh,
so,
yeah, that's not... I don't think they're surprised by that, though.
I want to say it was on purpose to throw John off. Some of it was. Some of the things I did was definitely on purpose. Some of the things I did were not. I overcooked the jerky by about 45 minutes. And
but that happens. And I mean, the meat you bought was pre-sliced. You had limited control over what you could do.
I knew what time I wanted to pull it off, though, and I should have set an alarm. I looked down at the clock and went, "Oh crap!"
I've said this many times here. You do at least too many jobs here. You wear too many hats.
I wear all the hats.
Right. It's not. Yeah. So I mean, mess ups like that are a nothing. That shouldn't even register. You shouldn't feel bad about that.
I am jealous though, because I look at yours and I look at mine and I'm like, dang.
Yeah, I spent most of yesterday working on that. You spent a very small portion of your day today working on that.
I spent 20 minutes on that?
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
That's why I bought the pre-sliced stuff from the store.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So there's a difference in effort expended there. So you're all right. All right. And so technically our meat hack was unsuccessful today. So I figured we'd go over some pro tips on how to make the best possible product. So we'll just do it real high level here, and we'll come back in a couple of weeks later and we'll dive into it deeper.
Yeah, because I think this does deserve like a full episode over just going through this stuff.
Yep. Nothing else, just talking about this. So we'll do that in the future things. But for right now, so grinding. A couple of the most important things you can do, and the number one important thing is keep everything super cold. It's going to help you in two ways. It's going to make everything grind quicker, and it keeps you out of the danger zone.
And you don't get any smearing.
Sure. Yeah. Yep. Your fat doesn't smear all over the place. And then you're going to use the right equipment for the job. Don't use a number 8 if you're trying to do 200 pounds.
Yeah.
That is not going to work well. So if you're doing large jobs, use a large grinder. If you're doing a smaller job, feel free to use your number 10, your number 8, anything like that.
10? What's
10,
10?
12.
Come on.
10, 12.
Come on,
it's
John.
It's a 10, 12.
No, it's a 12. It's an old,
it's literally
old
called
terminology.
10-12.
Well, you're just old. That's why you're calling it
that's
that.
fair.
Yeah,
that's fair. I can go with that.
So next thing up, like when you're grinding, after you keep the meat cold, the next thing the meat's going to come to is the grinder plate and knife. That grinder plate and knife needs to be the same grinder plate and knife that you use together all the time. Do not separate that grinder plate from the knife. You have to literally marry them up, and they never leave. It's
for life.
Don't pretend we're the 21st
you're in this
century.
For the long haul.
The 21st century, and divorce rates are really high. No,
not those
grinder
two.
Plates and knives. They do not divorce. They stay together forever.
That's a true love story right there.
Oh yeah.
Because what's going to happen?
We should write a movie about that.
We should write a movie about that. What's going to happen is one of them is going to get a groove that the other one doesn't have, and that's going to grind into the other one quicker. You're going to lose your knife and your plate quicker than you have to. So just get one plate for one knife, take a little twist tie, put them together, and you're good. And then you also want to white oil everything.
Everything?
Well, I mean, not everything, but you want to white oil your plate and your knife anytime you start. So
even some of anything that is metal on metal contact,
right?
Even like the auger ring or whatever you want to call that.
In the back, yep.
But
most importantly would be where the plate meets the knife. Even in the little bit of time it takes for your meat and your fat to reach that plate and knife, it's already going to start getting hot because it's spinning really, really fast. And as soon as you start creating meat or heat with metal, you're going to create expansion. It's going to give you problems. Just a little bit of white oil, which is super inexpensive, can help prevent that.
Yeah. And then the last thing, just keep in mind, if you see anything with damage, like anything that's not the grinder plate and knife, it something looks like it has a nick out of it, or even your auger, the head, anything that is passing meat through it, does something have damage to it? Keep an eye on that, because if it does, you need to make amends for it.
Or if your stud is the thing on the end of the auger that your plate sits on. If that has any wiggle to it, any wiggle in there is going to cause a lot of problems with your plate and knife on the end.
So okay, we're done with grinding.
Yep.
Let's go to mixing.
Yep.
What are we going to focus on mixing? Like the most important thing on mixing is
protein extraction, without a question.
Yeah.
So protein extraction is the almost entire reason we're doing mixing. Obviously, we want to take the seasoning and disperse it through as much of the meat as possible. Actually, I should say for a cured sausage, it's the most important thing. For a fresh sausage, like a bratwurst or a breakfast sausage, it's not as important.
The biggest thing I think on that is not smearing the meat. So that goes back to the first thing on grinding: plate, knife, marry them together,
Clean
keep them
cuts.
sharp, clean, so that you have a very defined protein to fat consistency there.
Yep.
Yeah.
So when you cut into it or bite into it, you're seeing clear, defined pieces of fat.
Yeah.
All right. So if you are making a cured sausage, you want protein extraction. What that is the proteins start becoming sticky and bind together. What that does is think of it like some Velcro. It starts going around the pieces of fat and holding them there. Where if you don't get that and you try to smoke something, you're going to render that fat out, and the fat will be able to escape through those binds, make it to the edge of your sausage, and start leaking down through the edge of the sausage and the inside of the casing.
Yeah.
That's where you end up with those disgusting like fat runnels.
Yeah. It looks really, really, really bad.
Yep. And it doesn't bite good. It doesn't look good.
Yeah, it ruins the casing too.
Yep. So all in all, protein extraction is the most important thing you're looking for when mixing.
So one other thing you can do, there's more still, but the next thing, use a binder. Sometimes a binder is going to help you hold in water. Sometimes it's going to add protein and hold in water. Sometimes it's going to do a little bit of this and that. It's going to do everything. But a binder helps in so many areas. This is where we said we're going to do a longer episode over this whole thing, because binders is a very long talk. Long story short, a lot of binders for a lot of different reasons, but binders will benefit your product for 100 different reasons, things, this and that. Use a binder.
Yep.
Like,
absolutely.
You just need to use a binder.
No question. And then an Excalibur seasoning that is designed for that specific product. So if you're making a fresh sausage, use an Excalibur seasoning that's designed for a fresh product. If you're wanting to make a cured product, use one that's made for a cured. Reason for that is there are different salt contents in there. The salt is going to actually go into the middle of the muscle and start helping to release that protein. It's going to make protein extraction easier and better.
Yeah. So one of the next things you need to do on mixing is add your ingredients in the correct order. Please. Yeah. Like, don't add encapsulated citric acid before the last 60 seconds. You can't do that because you're going to break the encapsulate. You're going to cause your meat to have a lot of problems. It's going to break down. It's not going to be okay.
It'll make protein extraction basically impossible.
It's going to break down proteins before they have a chance to do anything else. Don't add high temp cheese before the end because you're going to smear the cheese. Yep. Don't do a lot of different things that are going to hurt your meat product. But on the other hand, do add salt right at the beginning because salt helps in protein extraction. And that's one of the big things we're looking for is protein extraction during mixing. So add the salt, add the seasoning, the very first thing, and that's going to help your whole process throughout. So make sure you follow the right guidelines on A, B, C, D, E, F, G, whatever.
Yeah, and it really isn't that hard. And then obviously keep everything cold through that entire process. And then for stuffing, when you go ahead and get it out of the mixer, load it into your stuffer.
Just in any which order you want? Like just kind of throw it in there nilly-willy?
In the mixer? No.
No, the stuffer. Are we not a stuffer?
Yeah, we're going to stuffer.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
So grab the meat and put it into the stuffer.
Yeah, just willy-nilly.
Not willy-nilly. Grab it out of the mixer, load it into the stuffer.
Carefully, so you
don't create air pockets.
Yeah, starts going.
So what you're going to want to do is look at the canister. Basically, you wanted to create like alternating leaning tower of pizzas. So pizzas.
Oh, pizzas.
Yeah.
I thought we were talking about pizza.
We're not talking about pizza. We did that earlier.
So
you want to create like a base at an angle. Then on top of that, go an alternating angle that will let you push as much of the air out as possible and continue to do that all the way up. It might take a couple of times for you loading a stuffer to get good at it, but once you know how to do it, it's super simple and you can load a stuffer correctly in like 30 seconds.
We did watch someone else that was stuffing meat product the other day in my office. It was a video that they did not properly load the canister. Yes. They left air pockets everywhere.
And you could see it in the casing as it was coming out. Yeah.
It was bad.
And that was the good part of that. The bad part of that is you load so much air that it explodes your casing because the stuffer is pushing with an expectation that's going to run into meat. When it runs into air, it's going to just throw it out so quick that it will blow your casing. I know we had AK Dave from Alaska who had that. He posted some funny pictures of that.
So the next one, keep the right amount of pressure on each casing so you can prevent blowouts and stop from starting over. Because if you don't hold the right amount of pressure on the casing as you're stuffing, you will have blowouts. And blowouts no one likes because you either have to stop and separate the casing, pull the meat off that blew out, and then either crank the stuffer back down to put it back in, or you have to set it aside and finish stuffing and then reload the stuffer again.
Pain in the butt.
Yeah. No one likes it.
Nope.
Because most of the time, people think they need to stuff a casing really, really, really tight. But do you?
That's not accurate.
No. You never have to stuff it really, really, really tight.
Nope.
Most of the time, you are stuffing at least loose-ish, or if you're doing like a collagen, like you're going to see when it comes off, it's not bloated. It's not tight.
Yeah.
It is just kind of there. It's a little loose.
The only thing that you want almost tight is snack sticks. Everything else you can always tighten up with a couple extra twists.
Yeah, and that is like the big benefit over natural is that when you're stuffing it out, if it is too loose, really loose, you know what? Throw like 3 or 4 extra twists in there and it's fine.
You're good.
No big deal at all. So
move on. So then for the last thing for stuffing, and it's, I mean, I guess it, you can't get back to it before I.
No, I'm sorry, John. Here you go, John.
Good. All right, there it goes. And then the last thing for stuffing, do that again. And then the last thing for stuffing is know which stuffer you have. The 7 and 11 pounder both have a smaller diameter, so they take a lot less pressure to get down. Now, even with the 7 and 11 pound, I would still go ahead and clamp it down to the table of whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
But with the 7 and 11 pounder, it's easier if you're not. With the 26 and the 33 pound, I almost feel like you have to get it clamped to the table. Otherwise,
you don't have to. If you don't, you have to have a second person there
holding it down,
holding the stuffer for you.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. If you're doing it by yourself, you do almost have to. But yeah, if you have one person to stuff and one person to turn the crank, then you've got enough people where you don't have to clamp it down.
Yeah, enough leverage to kind of hold everything together there.
Yep.
The other difference though there is that you were talking about the best stuffer or the best this and that, and just use a Walton stuffer. It's always better than anything else you're using.
Well, that's why I said 7 and 11 pound. Those are ours.
Well, there's a 7, there's an 11 from others, but it's not. It is not a Walton stuffer.
Right.
So use a Walton stuffer, and you'll be better off.
Absolutely. All right, I say we just go to the out.
Yeah.
Okay.
You or me?
I don't have anything to say, so I think you.
Okay. Didn't do a coupon.
Oh crap! Should do something, right? Just put a note in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, say June.
You want to call it like June 2020? Just call
Sure.
it that.
Yeah.
Come on.
Is it going to be 10% off? 15?
We can either do 10 free shipping or 15 flat.
15 flat.
Okay. Well, I can't.
I'm going to call it June 2020. What is it doing?
I don't. Oh, I found it. Got it. It's coming back to life. There we go. Okay.
I'm going to eat your children. It's not doing it well, though.
June 2020.
Okay.
15%.
Yep. All right, so we've just created a coupon code for you guys to use. It's June 2020, and that's going to give you 15% off. That's
Wait, what?
Well, I saw you type 15% in there, so I know this is fake outrage. But
Okay, fine.
at least I'm not giving them free shipping. So they've got 15% off up to $100. I assume we're capping this. So there you go. We're giving you 15% off your next order at waltonsinc.com with coupon code June 2020.
That'll be good, unfortunately, for the next 2 weeks.
Okay.
So John might have done a little bit more than I would have liked, but you know what? John likes you guys. He loves you guys. So
you said 15% right
off.
there. I'm looking at 15%.
We'll do 15% off, and that'll be good for 2 weeks from the day that the podcast comes out. So
that sounds good.
That's all I got.
All right. You guys have a good night or good day, whatever you're listening this to.
Evening, morning, whatever.
Whatever.
See you guys next week.
We'll see you next week.
Yep.